Where are we at today? 8/1/2016, first day of August. Crazy eights. Yeah, and this is going to be a pretty crazy video. As far as the severity and intensity of what I'm going to go over here, I said in the last video, DEFCON 5. I gave you guys a brief interpretation of what that Jesus Christ thing sort of meant that I talked about. I made the intro. Jesus Christ has just entered the building. Later I correlated that to Hillary Clinton's little, bobblehead deal, where she was bobbleheading it. Everybody said that she had a seizure, and I'm saying, you know what? You don't have a seizure, and then literally a split second, not even a second after that, you start talking about your mocha latte and laughing, okay? That's not how seizures go. That's not how seizures go. The reason why all of this seizure information was flooding the internet after that happened is because they wanted to cover up what really was going on. Now, in the post that I made, it was pretty cryptic. And you can tell in the introduction of the last private video that I was trying to hint toward that. One of the reasons why I did it that way is I had to post it in the free section. So I didn't really want to deal with the heathens and give them direct information. You guys have passed the test, so I'm a little bit more straightforward with you guys. And I look at the public, let's say the civilians per se, and just see them as fodder, okay? You've got to make an effort to try and understand things on your own. And as soon as you do that, more and more and more is going to unfold. So for you guys, I'm going to explain what it's all about. And I already explained it in the comments. But basically what Hillary Clinton was freaking out about, and her head was all twitching and everything, was it's the intensity and energy of the sun in its changing magnitude, amplitude, and overall energy patterns, okay? Because this is the thing about the sun. And I prefaced that, I said, Jesus Christ has just entered the building. Well, Jesus Christ is considered who? He's considered the Son of God. Okay, the Son. So S-O-N turns into S-U-N. And I said massive, energy, imminent, get ready. 48 hours later, Hillary Clinton's doing her little fucking dance. And that's exactly what it was from the sun. Because remember in lore, remember in legend, remember in myth, and a lot of myths are true, vampires can't go out in the sun. Okay, that's why she's freaking out. Because this new intense solar energy, and 95% of the energies that the sun is putting out, we can't see. They're invisible. And a lot of the energies the sun is putting out right now, scientists have no idea how to even measure them. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff in the dark matter arena. Okay, I'm not saying that sun's putting out dark matter, but it's so non-known to most people that they don't know how to quantify it. They don't know what it is. And you can see the effects on Hillary Clinton because it just overrode her circuits. And that is going to happen more and more and more as time goes on. That's why the Illuminati are making very poor decisions. That's one of the reasons why Turkey, the coup in Turkey, was so impulsively planned and executed, because they can't go out in the sun. They can't think straight. They're bobblehead, all of them, and they're making huge errors. So that's another point of where this sun energy is going forward. Also, if you want to look at the 311 lyrics, now that you guys know for a fact that I was talking about the sun, S-U-N, okay, go back and look at the 311 lyrics and see what it says about the sun and sun rays and light energy. Go in and look at it, because again, I had to do it cryptically, and sometimes it's actually cool to write like that. I actually learned it from when I was getting my minor in English in college. I had a British literature class, and one of the authors that we studied was William Butler Yeats. Loved his work, It was like a manly pee hall to me. Just loved his work. Didn't understand in the beginning, but as I started to read a little bit more and think about it real more, and then the instructor would explain, well, this is what he's talking about. There would be a primary meaning and then a secondary hidden meaning, or more discrete meaning that you really, really, really had to pay attention to get. I loved it. I loved it. Still to this day. In fact, on the bookshelf behind me, the second shelf, I think there's a William Butler Yeats book up there, I believe. But I've got it somewhere. I've got a number of his books. Anyhow, so sometimes it's fun to do it cryptically like that, where you got the introductory message and then you got to think a little bit and then you really get to the heart of what it is. So that is what that is. Let me add this to this also. Also, I'm feeling the sun energy too. I mean, I got to tell you, there's been in the last week or so, I've had to take several naps during the day. I mean, I'm just exhausted. I'm just out. I'm just fried, and I don't understand why. And it's funny because Cliff High posted right before January 20th, he said, the week of January 20th is coming. Make sure that you take a lot of naps and get well rested or something like that. I went, oh man, I feel like you're talking directly to me, because that's exactly what's happening with me. You're like, for me personally, it's going to affect everybody a little bit different, but I'm a little lightheaded. Things feel a lot different, and I just need to take rest. And I got this sweet tooth that I don't know what's going on. I usually don't eat a lot of sugar, but I mean, yesterday, in fact, I ate like a third of a watermelon, and then I had to have a soda after that because I just had such a sweet tooth. It was wild. But and cane sugar soda, not the high fructose Coke and Pepsi, not that garbage. I mean the real sugar soda. So it's actually beneficial to you. So yeah, that's sort of like where I am in a nutshell. So what I'm saying by that point is that if you guys are feeling a little out of it, or you're feeling a little bit different, it's probably what it is. It's just this increased sun energy. It's gone from a yellow-orange sun to a blue-white sun, and it is cooking. It is cooking. And I don't mean temperature-wise. I mean temperature-wise, but I mean all of this dark matter, unseen energies that it's putting out. Man, it's smoking. So expect the Illuminati or the vampires, because they can't go out in the sun, which means if they go out in the bright light, they start making mistakes and they start doing things where they will be less powerful because they make mistakes that throw them down in the power range. And they also show themselves by acting really silly like Hillary Clinton. So people start to go, what the fuck was wrong with Hillary Clinton? And then they start asking a lot of questions. Okay, that's basically what that is. Now, let me go down these bullet points real quick, because there's a lot going on. Remember about a month ago I talked about the bombshell intel that was coming out of Saudi Arabia, and there was a couple of things that got released. I'm like, no, that's not it yet. I just hear that it's a hornet's nest. Things are imploding all over Saudi Arabia. We're going to hear some big news coming out. And it didn't really hit then. Well, it just hit today. I'm going to post a couple things, a couple of Zero Hedge links, but they needed some $4 billion bailout. That was one headline, and then 2 hours later it says Saudi Arabia is pumping massive oil and selling to its Asian customers for pennies on the dollar. So they're end of the bailout. They just figured out what to do, but at the same time, they're going to crush the whole oil market more than it is right now. And in fact, I know that the real reasons behind it is that the West, Illuminati, and the Saudis are fighting like mad. Oh man, they're fighting like mad. And probably what happened is that the Illuminati, vampires, under this new solar energy, are doing something really stupid, and the Saudis just said, F you, we're done with you, that's it, pump the oil, $20 a barrel, $15 a barrel, we don't give a rat's ass. You know if they're selling to the Asian clients for a cut mark price, that they're selling it in non-dollar terms, okay? So that's what my intel was telling me was going to come out. That's what we're hearing today. I'll put the links below. Okay. Also, these shootings, these mass shootings, these cop shootings, these false flag events that were happening every day. Okay, this is what's happening. And in psychology, and especially if you take abnormal psych, or if you take what was it called, deviant behavior. Okay, you find out that when you have crimes like shootings or stabbings or homicides or whatever, if there's too much of it that gets brought into the public too fast, you have what's called copycat killers or copycat criminals. That's the slang term. I don't know what the definition is for it in the psychological protocol, but I know that in the slang term it's called copycat criminal or copycat killer. If they see the crime too many times, then they go out and mimic it and do it. That's what's happening with these shootings. They've false flagged so many cop shootings that now they're actually getting real killers that are going out and killing the cops. And it's scaring the F out of them. So they had to back off on that for a little bit. They can't keep doing it because then all these copycat killers, there's a lot of crazy people out there, guys. There's a lot of crazy people. Remember I said a couple videos ago, I'm not hesitant about the Illuminati at all. It's all these 7 billion idiots that are running around, 330 million of them in the United States. Yeah, this is a fine example of what I'm talking about. There's a lot of nutcases out there. They're just very unstable. They don't know who they are, and I would suggest just be aware of the environment that's going on right now, okay? So that's what's going on with the shootings. Bank failures. Italy is cooked. Italy is over. Like I said, the NATO base in Turkey, Incirlik Air Base, is done. They are not distributing heroin proceeds anymore. It's putting a huge clamp down on the banks. Italy specifically, because they have like 17 or 20% non-performing loans in the Italian banks' portfolios, and it's bad. Without that dope money, like I said before in the drug lord video before this one, I said if they don't get that cash, they don't get that liquidity, they're going to be forced to print, and the EU is a lot more stringent in the printing. So I don't know what's going to happen, but the end result is going to be those banks are going to fail. They're all latched together with French banks and Portuguese banks and Spanish banks and German banks, Deutsche, all of them. And then ultimately they're latched together with New York-based banks and United States Anglo-American banks, okay? So keep your eye on that. But what's actually causing all of these earthquakes, okay, is the lack of these drug proceeds. Now, that pipeline might not be shut down completely. The commencement point of it might be shut down, or the median point of it might be shut down. Okay, so there might still be profits in the pipe that are coming down. Okay, so they might have turned the spigot off, but the water's still running down the ravine. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so it might take a couple weeks, month or so for us to really see that lack of liquidity pinch. But that's what's going on with that. Okay, sun magnitude I already went over. Cobra, let's talk about Cobra here for a minute. I know that there was quite a few comments. Bruno, you were talking about Cobra. Nancy, you were talking about Cobra. Someone else asked about Cobra, I can't recall, but he was so far off the mark on this last Turkey definition and summarization and explanation that I have no doubt in my mind that he is on the dark side. And I've been very skeptical about this guy for a little bit. If you noticed that I've stopped talking about him quite a few months ago. And this is what the real key for me was in the beginning. He said in an interview, they asked him if the Paul McCartney that's walking around, okay, today, the Beatles, Paul McCartney was the real Paul McCartney. He said, yeah, that's the real Paul McCartney. There's this thing about the fake Paul McCartney, that's all made up and it's all hysteria. Something to that effect. And I went, dude, you're the biggest effing liar I've ever heard in my mother effing life. The Paul McCartney that is running around today is a fake Paul McCartney. All the videos that you see on the final testimony of George Harrison, I believe, that's all true. All that stuff is true. If you read David McGowan's book, the one that I have on Disinfowars, okay? If you ever get that book, I've got a link there that goes directly to his family, okay? It doesn't go to a book retailer. It goes to his family, okay? He came to the same conclusion that I came to, being born and raised around Hollywood. I was around Hollywood my whole life. My conclusion was it is a CIA spook operation. It is completely run by the government. It is engineered. It is not entertainment. It is a sociological engineering project. It's like a Pavlovian experiment, okay? He came to the same conclusion. He said that it is military intelligence, and military intelligence is what's backing and forming all these bands, the entertainment business in general, and it's all scripted to get you mentally to go in certain directions. There is nothing made up in the entertainment business. It's all scripted. For example, you guys think that Jim Morrison was the Lizard King and he came out of nowhere and he was hanging out in Venice Beach with Ray Manzarek and they just started writing lyrics and they became this huge popular rock band and he was a rebel against society. That is the biggest bunch of bullshit that you've ever heard in your effing life. Jim Morrison's father was the commander of the naval fleet that faked the Tonkin Bay incident, okay? Jim Morrison's father is a naval commander. Pull it up, get David McGowan's book, but this kind of stuff happens all the time in Hollywood. All of these things can be scripted, they're engineered. So, flashback, go back to Cobra, these types of things can be engineered. He can talk and talk and talk and gain your confidence, gain your confidence, gain your confidence, and then steer you in the other direction. Just like Alex Jones. I mean, Alex Jones has a lot of great material. He's got a lot of great material. But then when you really analyze it, what is he doing with that material? He's getting you to panic. He's getting you to freak out. He tells you that the Illuminati are all powerful. He says that they're coming to get you. He says that we're going to have martial law and FEMA camps, and they're going to go into your bank accounts and take every last dollar that you have, and death, 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 death. That's what he steers you into. But the bottom line is this: you can't catch the rat if you don't set the trap with cheese. You can't just set a trap out without the cheese in it. How are you going to get the rat in it? So all these people out there, and I can't speak for Cobra. I never met the guy. I just know that his information has been pretty intellectual. But these few things that he said make me believe that no. He's definitely got an agenda. He's pushing something, and that's what it appears to me to be about. But who knows? Maybe he was compromised. I don't know exactly all the details. I'm just saying that these are the indicators that I'm getting, and it looks to me like, yeah, he's definitely on some type of agenda. It's very difficult to figure out. In fact, one of the reasons when I got involved in this genre, I was shocked. I was shocked after a few years to find out how many government employees are out there running websites. I was shocked. I'm not going to go into any more names, but yeah, all of the well-known names. There's very few out there, in my opinion, that are legitimate, 100% set on the freeing of humanity, the educating of humanity as a total committed goal. They're all marginalized, and they're very good at setting those traps, so just be careful. So I wanted to go back in there because I know that in the past Cobra's corroborated a lot of my information, a lot of my intel. Okay, fantastic, but that doesn't mean that he's 100% legit. He might be doing that for a reason. He might be doing that, not to say that he's lying, but just to say that he's putting out that true information to get people to come in, Do you see what I'm saying? So the last straw for me was this interpretation of the Incirlik Air Base Turkey coup, and I went, oh no, this guy's completely, he's using his momentum right now to divert people away from what the truth is. So I wanted to get that out to you guys because I know that there was quite a few people commenting about what he said. So I want to clarify that. Again, for you guys, to the heathens, to the outsiders, no. But this is what you guys get when you decide to take the trip into the membership side. So, okay, a little long-winded today, but again, with this sun thing going on,